Welcome everyone to our weekly Forex market analysis call. And this is for trading for the week of July the 2nd to the 6th of 2018. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money, especially as we get into our summer trading months here. Liquidity tends to be low during the summer months. A lot of people will take vacations with the kids being out of school and things like that. This is a prime time for a lot of the institutional traders going away. And as a result, what happens is that there are less orders in the market. And when there are less orders in the market, it creates this low liquidity conditions, which means that when orders come in, even a small order that normally would not have impacted the price very much can drive the market. So we tend to see these moves that are quite, they can be quite large and exaggerated when otherwise they would not have been. So that's something to keep in mind. So let's dive into our calendar here. As usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our weekly calendar. So this week we have, let's start off from the top here. So not much. We have some PMI numbers on a Monday. Important one here, manufacturing PMI numbers here. So these PMI numbers are the precursors. They're leading indicators for retail sales. So if PMI numbers come in, then chances of the retail numbers will be strong as well. So they're important numbers. We have ISM manufacturing PMI numbers for the US. That will be important. And then very important here, RBA rate statement. So Reserve Bank of Australia here, not expected to change interest rate, but monetary policy changes or the central bank speak has been very, very important. We saw that happen with ECB lately. We saw that with Bank of England. We saw Governor Polas came in and had a speech, and it drove dollar CAD up and then bounced right back. So these comments from central banks are becoming very, very important at the moment because the policy is changing. The monetary policy is changing. So at this point, even though there's no expectation of interest rate hike here or change, but they're not, at this point, they're not going to drop rates. The only way the rates will go will be up, but not right now. So what are we looking for in terms of the statement? We're looking for how the central bank feels about the economy. Are they concerned about trade wars, tariffs, and things like that? We heard from Governor Polas from Bank of Canada. He talked about problems with NAFTA and other things being problematic or being a concern for the central bank. And as a result, they were talking about how we'll watch data and we'll watch how the situation develops, and then they will make any sort of adjustments to the monetary policy. So this is the type of stuff, because the trade wars are so important right now. There are tariffs being implemented back and forth. So this becomes important to keep an eye on the statement. Construction PMI numbers, again, from British pound, for the British pound here, those will be important. Retail sales numbers will be important for Australia. Trade balance here. Trade balance is another data point that is becoming more important right now because of the trade wars. So trade balance is usually an important number, especially for export economies like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, China, these places, because they export stuff, it's more important for them. But if we see a decline in this number, that will be negative, especially with the trade wars kind of hanging over everybody's heads. This will be important. So make sure to keep an eye on this. All right, you guys, are you getting echo from my end? Anybody having problems with the voice, audio? Okay, it seems like so no echo. Just want to make sure. No echo. Okay, so it may be just. So it may just be an issue at your end there. All right, so let's move on further here. So Smita, it may just be, you may have to just play around with your settings at your end. It may be the speaker settings. All right. So this week, services PMI number here for a UK here. This will be very important as well because UK economy is primarily a services-based economy. So this number, again, PMI numbers will be very important. Coming up, we have Bank of England, Governor Carney speaking. Last time when he spoke, it drove dollar CAD up because he expressed concerns about trade wars and things like that. And that's what drove dollar CAD up, which it quickly retreated. But if you're in a trade during this, I would suggest being careful. And now this week, because it is the first week of the month, we have ADP non-farm numbers. So these will be important, and then non-farm payroll numbers coming up will be very, very important. So expect volatility in the US dollar. Again, ISM non-manufacturing PMI numbers. Big one here, FOMC meeting minutes. Like I said, monetary policy and central bank policies are becoming a very, very important. What they say, how they say it, the phrases they use, their choice of words, everything is becoming very important because market participants are reading into that, and based on that, they're drawing conclusions as to what the central bank's intent is. So FOMC meeting minutes, again, very important here. And then a big one here for the US, non-farm employment numbers. So it's not just the employment and unemployment numbers that play a role. Average hourly earnings will play a significant role as well. So if we see employment numbers, let's say employment numbers go up, but the average hourly earnings go down, that could be negative for the US dollar. So keep that in mind. And of course, for Canada here, we have employment numbers as well as trade balance numbers. So if they come in negative, that will have a negative impact for Canada, especially the trade balance numbers. If they come in negative with all the NAFTA negotiations and trade wars and things like that, this becomes very important. All right, so let's move on to our charts here. We will start off by taking a look at our euro dollar here. Need to go to weekly. So euro dollar was interesting. We came all the way, it came into the bottom here, didn't quite get to the very bottom, almost into the support resistance area. I'm going to zoom out a bit here to get a full view. So this is where we are at the moment. Now, based on this close, this is interesting because price went all the way to test the bottom, and now we have a bullish pin bar, and that suggests that price is likely to move higher. Now looking for price to go into 1.1845 level. So it's kind of like this. So we had rejection here and price pushed up all the way. Now we have a rejection pin in the bottom, looking for price to move up higher. Now, do keep in mind this right now we are into resistance. So this support will turn into resistance. So it will be important to see price actually break out above this and then go higher. But the bias is to the upside, and target is 1.1850 level to the upside. So this is bullish. Euro dollar is bullish for this week. But again, if the price cannot break this 1.1720 level, does not hold above, then it can move lower because this could just be a pullback. Now, we did have last weekend, Friday, it was month end, weekend, and quarter end. So there were a lot of positions closed by big institutional traders in order to book profits for the quarter, and that's the only way they can book profits. So they could start initiating those positions once again, and that could cause it to drop. So that's why it's very important to see how price reacts at 1.1720 level. If it breaks above, then looking for price to continue higher. But if it gets stuck here at this level, it could drop back into the bottom of the range. So this will be critical, but overall the bias is to the upside. Pound dollar here. So let's go to, okay, I was doing some videos and marking up some charts. Let me just get rid of. Okay, so here we have pound dollar weekly. So this one shows a rejection from the support level as well. So now we have a similar setup to what we have, or similar pattern to what we had here. We had a big pin to the bottom here, and then price went up. So this is kind of what we're seeing in pound dollar here as well. So with this one, this looks bullish here. Price could go higher because we are into support. So this one could bounce higher. Biases to the upside for pound dollar, and looking for 1.3450 level to the upside. So bullish for pound dollar. Aussie dollar here. Aussie dollar as well, we have seen the bounce off of this level here. See how we have a similar formation here as we saw here. So we have a pin in the bottom here. So looking for price to go higher. And the target here actually would be all the way into there. So that will be first target 0.7500, and above that we could see price go into 0.7580 level, I would say. So that will be the next target. So bias is bullish for Aussie dollar as well. New Zealand dollar here, this one is still looking bearish. This New Zealand dollar kind of took a hit last week. And now sometimes what happens is one Aussie will go up and New Zealand will go down, and then they can flip around. So do keep that in mind. But based on the weekly close here, this looks bearish. Okay, so this looks bearish here. So we could get a pullback into 68.80 level here. That looks like a good level for a pullback. Biases to the downside, and looking for price to move. So the first target would be 0.6680 level, and then if it continues, it could go lower. Now, do keep in mind, because this will be impacted by the US dollar. So if US dollar weakens further, this could go in the opposite direction, right? So that's entirely possible. And if US dollar strengthens, then these other ones can go in the opposite direction. So it's important to keep that in mind, because things are a little bit skewed right now because of Friday. So Thursday night, Friday, when all these positions were being closed, which caused this up move and things like that. So keep that in mind. But bias for New Zealand dollar is to the downside. Dollar CAD had a big drop here, and this one is bearish now. So bias is to the downside. We are into support right here. So that's important to keep in mind, because if price does not break through the support, then it could just continue higher, because overall the move is still to the upside. But that's a nice bearish engulfing candle close. Tweezer tops here. So I'd be looking for price to drop. And the next target here would be 1.2900 level to the downside, or even 1.2850 level to the downside. So bias is bearish for dollar CAD. Euro pound here is looking, there we go. So euro pound had been in a range for quite some time. Overall, it is still in this range, but we are kind of into this resistance right here. So this one, it's sort of a neutral candle, because we have a pin on it. It's a small candle body and a pin on top. So the pin is the same size as the candle body, which makes it very neutral. However, there is room to the upside here. It hasn't been able to break the bottom, so chances are it will go higher. And the next target here would be 0.8980 level. So bias is kind of neutral to bullish for euro pound. Euro Swiss franc here. This one has bounced off of the bottom, so the bias is to the upside, and the target for this one would be 1.1650 level. So bullish for Euro Swiss franc. Pound Swiss franc here is, this is interesting. So we have had a bearish close. Now this candle is very neutral as well. So we have pins on both sides, small candle body, not much in terms of market direction, but overall it's bearish. So I'm going to go with bearish here, looking for price to drop further, 1.2865 level here. So bias is bearish, neutral to bearish. But if this pulls back here into 1.3280 level, that would be a good level to keep in mind, because we could see something like this and then that. So 1.3280 level is very important for us to keep in mind. Overall, neutral for the week, but because overall move is to the downside, bias is bearish for pound Swiss franc. Dollar Swiss franc, this one was interesting. So we saw price go into this top to test this out. Right now, this one shows us pin in the top, which means this is the opposite of the pound or the euro one that we looked at. So looking for price to drop here. And the target would be 0.9780 level to the downside. So bias is bearish for dollar Swiss franc. Pound CAD here. Let's do a quick one on this. Looking bearish, looking for price to drop further, and the target would be 1.7078. Let's get rid of these extra ones. Okay, so here looking for price to drop further. Nice bearish engulfing candle close here. So bias is bearish. 1.7070 will be the target to the downside. Pound yen. Pound yen looking bullish. We have a bullish pin bar here. So this one could move higher up, back looking for it to, so we have come into support here and with close with a bullish pin bar. So target is 148.00. That will be the next target. And above that, it could go into 150. So bullish for pound yen. Euro yen looking quite bullish here as well. Okay, so this one, bullish candle close for the week here, and looking for price to go up further into the top of these pins here. So bias is to the upside. First target is 130.20. Second target 130.150. So looking for price to move up, bullish for euro yen. Dollar yen here. Okay, dollar yen is also looking bullish here, bullish candle close for the week, looking for it to move further up. As we can see, it bounced off of this target here. First target is 111.41, and then above that 112. So bias is bullish for dollar yen. Aussie here. Aussie is also bullish here. We have a bullish pin bar. Okay, bullish pin bar here, looking for price to move up higher. And first target will be 82.90, so 8,300. Second one, 84.50. So this one has actually been in this range for quite some time. So this one could just continue higher. So looking for, so we have a nice 2 pins to the bottom, bullish pin bar here, small one, but still bullish pin bar. So looking for it to continue higher. So this setup here is literally the opposite of this one right here. So it just kind of flipped over. So now I'm looking for price to go into the top of the range, and the target 84.50, and then there is an interim target in between, but looking for price to move up higher. So bullish for Aussie yen as well. CAD yen, very bullish close here, looking for price to continue further up. And so this is bullish engulfing candle here. 85.60 will be the target to the upside here. So this one is also bullish. And second target to the upside will be 86.80. So 85.60 first and 86.80, two targets. New Zealand yen, this one is actually weaker. Now, I have sometimes seen that between Aussie and New Zealand, like I mentioned before, 1 week, one is weaker, and the other week, the other one, it flips around. So just be mindful of that. But this one here is still holding below this previous support and resistance. There is weakness in it, so it could move lower. Biases to the downside, 73.70 will be the target to the downside. I would watch out for this type of retracement and then a move to the downside. Now, if all the yen crosses continue going upwards, this one could get pulled upwards as well. So that's something to keep in mind. All right, so anything else? Gold. Gold is bearish. So we had talked about, this is kind of where we started looking at it. It was in this range for quite some time. It's dropped, done a back test. Now we are into that support level that we had talked about. See, when price came here, see how it bounced up here? Now, this was an inefficient move. This one, not so inefficient. This is quite efficient, actually. So with this one here, because we are into support, so the weekly bias is to the downside, but we are into support. So this one could bounce up. So be mindful of that. Bias is still to the downside, 1236.98 or so 1237 will be the next target, and beyond that 1220. But I would be mindful of that bounce to the upside in gold here. Oil looking quite strong here. It's broken above this previous high, and this is part of the reason that Canadian dollar has been pushing higher. So with this one, biases to the upside, 76.90 will be the next target. With this here, again, I would look for a pullback because that's quite a solid move to the upside. So I'm looking for a pullback into the highs here, and then a continuation move to the upside. Now, question is also another thing to keep in mind, I would say, is also that OPEC, there's been a lot of comments out of OPEC because US had asked OPEC to increase the oil supplies, with US pulling out of the Iranian nuclear treaty there. And as a result of that, US is kind of sanctioning the countries that would do kind of have agreements with Iran. And as a result of that, that's another thing to keep. And so make sure you're keeping an eye on your audio feed, because these things this is where they will be posted, or that's when they will let us know about that. So keep that in mind. OPEC, any changes in OPEC decisions in terms of, they said they would increase oil production, so that could have an impact if there's more talk about shortage of oil because Iran is not supplying oil, that could be problematic. Or if they say, yes, everybody's going to start producing more oil, then that could be a problem as well. So just keep all of that in mind. Overall, it is bullish, but now we have had two huge moves here upwards in oil. So when we have some big moves like this, it does make it vulnerable to pullbacks. So that is also likely. So keep that in mind. So yes, currently there's no shortage in oil. There's absolutely no shortage in oil. We actually have oil inventories. There was a drawdown last week, but yes, the oil inventories are quite healthy, and they have been actually been going up over all this time. But it's not today's shortage. They're more concerned about a couple of years, like next year, 2019 shortage of oil then. So right now there isn't, but it's the speculation, it's the market sentiment that gets created because of these comments that drive the market. Copper, let's take a look at copper. Has been falling steadily. One of the reasons that we have seen some of these commodity currencies take a hit. Okay, now we are at the bottom of this range. So last time price was here, it got pushed up. So last 3 weeks, price has been coming down. So if the range holds, we could see a bounce of this. Now, if it breaks, then it's likely to go lower at 2.85, and then there's room to the downside from there. So right now, this has been trading in a range, bounced off the high. It has previously bounced off of the low twice. So I would look out for that. If it holds below 2.93, it could move higher. Otherwise, looking for a breakout move to the downside here like this, and then we could see price come down. This is kind of similar to what gold was doing. If you take a look at gold, it was trading in this range for quite some time, and finally it bounced up, broke through, came down, and that was the move. So if we put that here, it's in the range right now. If it breaks out, it will drop, pull back, or what it could do is very similar to what gold did. So let me just draw out the move here. It could do one of these and then do one of these, right? So that's what I would be looking for. But again, for it to continue lower, very important to see a break of 2.93. Otherwise, it could just stay in the range and just pull up higher back towards the top of the range. So currently it's range bound, and the first thing to look for would be a trade back into the range. And Bitcoin is what you had asked for, right? Let's take a look. Bitcoin has been in this free fall to the downside. So still looking bearish. We had this gap, never got filled, looking bearish, and the target is 55.38. 55.38, yes. So bias is to the downside. If we were to zoom out here, this is the next major price level that we're looking at. It's already back into this range. So price had sort of played around or stayed in this range for quite some time. It's looking weak right now. It dropped, pulled back, and now looking for it to drop further. 55.38 is the level. So it's been quite a downfall here for Bitcoin. Yeah, and it looks like it's going to continue at least into 55.38, and then we'll see if it will find a support, because last time it did push up from here. But we'll see. Right now, it's just one-way street to the downside. Actually, let's do a weekly. Sorry, that was a daily candle that I was looking at. So yeah, so still 55.38. And then below that, 51.30. So looking bearish right now for Bitcoin. All right. So any more questions before we wrap things up? Okay. So before we wrap it up, just wanted to talk about the Trade Copier service. I have just recently launched a Trade Copier service. If you are interested, so to reach me by email, you can email me at raman@tradingwithvenus.com. So RAMAN @tradingwithvenus.com. So in regards to the Trade Copier service, just wanted to give you a quick overview. This is a subscription-based service, so it's a monthly or a yearly subscription. And for the Trade Copier, basically what it does is it will take all the trades that I take in my account, and they will get copied directly to your account, and it will match the position size to whatever the amount is in your account. I do not have any view into how much money you have in your account, what kind of, I do not have any control or access to your account. You're completely in charge of your own account. I have no viewing facilities into your account. All it does is just basically takes the trades and copies them into your account. So the price for this as of October the 1st will be $997 a month. Right now I'm running a beta test, and the setup fee will be $1,000 as well. But right now, because I am doing the beta test, there's no setup fee. It's $297 a month. But currently, I am only So the way I'm going to do this is currently I'm only, if you join now at $297 a month, you actually get 2 months free after the first month. And then your price will be $297 per month forever. As long as you stay, it will not change. Even when others will be paying $997, this price will stay. You'll get grandfathered at $297 a month. So if you are interested in this, you can go to bit.ly/Venus Copier monthly or bit.ly Venus Copier yearly. So those are the options. But if you join now, you will get 2 months. So you'll pay for the first month, but then you'll get 2 months for free. And after that, it'll be $297 a month. So literally you're paying $100 a month for now, which is cheaper than what my trade room is. Okay, so if you're interested, please feel free to check it out. And we'll continue this on till the end of September will be the beta test period, and October 1st, the new prices will come into effect. And also, if you're interested, I will be doing a lot of back testing, and I will be doing a lot of live calls in my Facebook group. All of those are free. If you want to join me and just kind of get some hands on the wheels experience, my Facebook group is called facebook.com groups trading with Venus. So that's what I will be that's where I will be doing the live session. So please feel free to join that. And if you have any questions for me, you can always reach me at raman@tradingwithvenus.com. All right, so we will wrap it up here. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you again next week. Bye for now.